Right, let's see what you got for me. Felixstowe, Bremen. Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be. I mean, I've been to all the places. It's got to be Felixstowe, Bremen. We're doing it. Are we actually going to do this right now? Are we actually fucking going to go to Bremen? With some lumber. I'm looking for a lumber. Glory, hallelujah. Okay, yeah, why not? Let's take a fucking job. Don't take your fucking job. Stick it in your bumhole and we'll take your fucking job. We'll take your fucking job. We'll take your fucking job. We'll take your fucking, we'll take your fucking, we'll take your fucking. Easy as you like, man. Who's better? Who's doing it out there doing it like me, man? Who's out there picking up, coupling, doing all the things that need to be done like me? The answer to your question, the answer to this question may surprise you. Or it may not surprise you. Nay, cunt. I mean, I wasn't surprised, I don't know about you. But I definitely wasn't surprised by that. But take my nay cunts out here doing it like me. Nah. I fucking right! Just pick up the speed, man. Oh, do you mind when I made that sunflower joke, man? Like about yonder fucking 5 minutes ago, and I was just like, here, you need all these sunflowers delivered, man. You'll shake my own, man. I mean, you know it's all in good spirit. I mean, like, I don't actually have anything against them or their sunflowers, you know what I mean? I'm just that kind of cunt, man. Like, I consider you my... do you know what? I'm the kind of cunt that if I'm no joking with you, that's when there's something to be worried about, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if I consider you a ghost pal, I'm just going to feel slag fuck at you, man. That's just what pals do. But, like, if I'm no slagging fuck at you and you're indeed relatives, then that's something to be worried about, you know? So I'll wait till we're over the seas. I'll wait till we've... I'm coming out. Oh, yes! That was high grade, that, by the way. But yeah, I'll wait till I'm on the open ocean before I fucking... Or I'm over the open ocean and I'm well on my way to Bremen before we start talking about flag shaggers and that. You know what I mean? I don't want to, like, scare people on the boat because I feel very passionately about flag shaggers and where they should all go and what they should all do. I think they should all go and chuck themselves off a bridge, flag a shag, get their genitals wrapped all right round a flag, and then run and jump and jump and jump and jump and jump right off a fucking bridge. Jump right off a fucking bridge, or I don't know, man, like, if you don't have a local bridge, just like fucking, you know, a nearby 3-story building, just launch yourself off head first, and you should, that should do the trick. I mean, you might survive, but either way, you're probably not going to be, you know, spreading your flag shagging opinions anymore, because you're probably going to be like brain dead or something. So that'll do. That will do for me. Where am I going right now? Would I not getting on the ferry? Istanbul, man. TM Istanbul, man. Good lads that drive the trucks, man. Good lads and ladettes, let me tell you. How's my fuel doing? We're alright, fuck it. On the road again. I can't wait to be dancing on the road again. Okay, I guess I can just talk about flag shaggers. I thought we were just going to get right on the ferry there, but it doesn't seem like it. Okay, so I guess you by now, you know, or maybe not, who fucking knows, this might not be on your radar. If you're into football at all, or you're like on BBC News or whatever, that's like the news channel I use, even though, you know, there's biases there with certain things when they're reporting on like monarchy-based things or like international affairs where Britain are quite heavily involved, or like Scotland and things like that as well. You can tell there's times where I'm like, oh, I fucking hate you bastards. But for the most part, like, I honestly feel like the BBC is about as impartial as it gets. And that's saying something, do you know what I mean? But it's better than all the tabloids, and I feel like the only way to truly get impartial news is to, you know, read it all, read the unimpartial stuff. Not the pure extreme pure nonsense, but like, you know, read some left-leaning stuff, read some right-leaning stuff, read stuff on BBC or whatever, and then kind of collate your information for that. But, you know, if you can't be arsed with that, because, like, who fucking could? I do think the BBC is, for the most part, the best place to get your news. It's not as sensationalist. Like I said, certain topics is still a load of shite. Like, the reporting of, like, fucking We Cancel Tubes Kate and all that has just been diabolical and embarrassing. And it's like, the fact it's even news is just, like, obviously her having cancer isn't news, but the fact that, like, the shit that's going on in the world right now and that's like headline stuff, just, it says everything you need to know about this country and the flag shaggers that reside within it. So like I said, if you've been on there or you're into football, you'll probably have seen this controversy of Nike allegedly, or not allegedly, changing the English crest on the back of the England national football top. You'll be forgiven for thinking, what's the big fucking deal? You'll be absolutely forgiven for that, because it's I think the exact same fucking thing. But the uproar that has surrounded this, not just from we're not talking about just from the flag shaggers and the general populace, of which there's fucking hundreds, but we're talking about the Prime Minister. Not just the fucking Prime Minister, the fucking, his opponent on the allegedly left-sided party, like, that is supposed to be opposed to him, both out acting like it's a pure big fucking deal, and you don't mess with flags, and flags are a massive part of people's identity, and they mean a lot to people, and you can't fucking mess with that. Where am I going? It's truly fucking embarrassing. But, like, you have them out there saying that, and then you've got ex-footballers like Peter Shilton. And don't get me wrong, an ex-England keeper, don't get me wrong, he's just a mad old English bastard, so is it any shock to me that he thinks like that? That he would be so appalled at such an egregious attack on the British identity, or the English, not even British identity, sorry, English identity. No, of course not. But at the same time, it's just like, get a fucking grip. It is so innocuous. It's like a fucking, they put a wee bit of purple in it. I actually think it looks really nice. Like the kit, like, I actually think the England kit right now is a really nice kit. Like, and the main issue should be the price. I think it's £115 for the top. That should be your fucking issue. But the fact that people are so fucking worked up over the slight changing of a colour of a flag, and they're all adamant like, oh, you don't change flags. But it's not a fucking flag. It's a crest on a top. Like, it's obviously you're going to change that if the colour scheme's different. Maybe you don't, right? I think there's a point made. It's like the way they've worded it as well. The way Nike worded like the change opens himself up to this kind of criticism. But honestly, you've got people on talk shows and all that, like the general public, like, it's a fucking disgrace and it's an attack on our heritage. And can you imagine the uproar if the American flag was changed, or the Irish flag? Can you imagine the uproar if they put purple in the Irish tricolour? It just wouldn't happen. And I'm like, well, I mean, purple doesn't even really go with the Irish tricolour. Like, I'm sure if, like, they made a fucking Ireland top, like, with a slightly different colour, like the away kit or something like that, and they had the tricolour on there, but, like, they just had a slight design change to make it go with the kit, I feel like most cunts wouldn't be that bothered. But I would say the same thing to them if they were. Like, get a fucking grip. Absolutely. Like, even if you pure don't agree with it, which who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why you wouldn't agree with it. But even if it's like you're just like, I don't think they should have done that, right? Fair enough. But to get so fucking, like, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but to get so fucking worked up about it, do you know what I mean? Like, just how dare they touch St. George's Cross? How fucking dare they? It's just like, shut the fuck up. And like the response is like, there's going to be like fucking white and red St. George's crosses all around the stadium. We're not trying to change the flag. It's not even the flag, it's the top. They're all acting like, oh, this is the start of it. This is the start of the LGBT community coming in and just fucking changing all our flags, and we won't stand for it. Do you know what I mean? It's like a fucking top that's got a bit of purple in it. So they put a bit of purple in the wee cross. I personally think it looks fucking nice. And there is a few cunts, like, is it John Barnes, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. But there is a few cunts that are like what the fuck is the big deal? And fair fucks to them. Because they, like, you need to be their voice of reason, right? I'm not saying that, like, former footballers or, you know, celebrities or people that are, like, got a wee bit of clout, shall we say, are any smarter than the general population. I'm absolutely not saying that, but you kind of need them to be. And when you've got guys like Peter Shilton, a former goalkeeper, being like, you know, this is just, I'm a traditionalist and this just goes against everything I stand for. You're just like, you're just stoking the flames. I mean, you're clearly an idiot. You're the same as the cunts that are calling up these fucking shows, but like, you would expect, you would hope for a wee bit more of a balanced opinion. And same with like the fucking Keir Starmer and that fucking moron Rishi Sunak. Sorry, Keir Starmer's a fucking moron and all, but like the same way they fucking cunts. Like, to be out here, first of all, Rishi Sunak was like, the flag is your identity. It's like, if your identity is a fucking flag, then take it from me, I've got some really good life advice for you. Kill yourself. Like, you should probably kill yourself, because it's all downhill for here, I'm afraid. You know, like, if you put so much, and look, that's coming from some cunt. I'm a Scottish nationalist, you know what I mean? I fucking love Scotland, and I'm not talking about from a political point of view, like I am, but we're not trying to get into like a pure, you know, not being proud of where you're from. I know I am. I'm absolutely proud of being Scottish. I'm proud of the Scottish flag, and I like the Scottish flag, you know, all these things. But like, it's not my fucking identity. It's a facet of my identity, aye, okay, you know, and as I said, there's definitely pride there in my country, and I don't think there's any fucking problem with that. But when you put that much stock in, and again, the irony of this, I was going to say, first of all, when you put that much stock in a flag, you need to get a fucking grip. But the irony beyond all this is that it's not even a flag. We're talking about a fucking football top with a slight colour change for it to go with the rest of like the artistic style and direction. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about cunts coming out and going, yeah, we're thinking about changing the fucking changing the shape and the colour of our national flag to include a more inclusive message. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a designer slightly changing a very small part of a top that only actually started having this crest on it 20 years ago. Beforehand didn't have it. A top that has already had different coloured crest on it. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that means anything, because I think that if people had picked up on that, I think it was about 2012 when it was a different colour as well. I think if these knuckle draggers had picked up on that then, they would, you know, there would be as much outroar as it is now. So I don't think it's like, oh, well, this has happened before, and nobody was bothered. I think it did happen before, and I think that people just only caught wind of it. And I think, not only that, from what I've seen the last time that they changed the design, I think it was Umbro, it was in like 2012, and I don't know, I think people have got a lot crazier since then, a lot more invested in ideologies. It feels like to me, anyway. It felt like back then, all these people that feel strongly about this now probably would, you know, in a passing conversation be like, oh, that's fucking stupid, why are they changing that? I mean, world's gone mad, woke fucking warriors, all that, whatever the fuck nonsense they've got to say. but I don't think they would get quite as worked up about it as they do now. But everybody's super on the defence because everything's kind of about picking sides and about ideologies these days, and everybody perceives the slightest change to something they care about as an attack on them and their identity and everything they represent. So I do think that, like, you know, somebody going, oh well, we've changed it before and nobody bothered then. I think the point would be that, first of all, I don't think people really knew, because the internet wasn't quite as prevalent then as it is now. And secondly, I think that the population has changed a bit in terms of not necessarily their opinions, but how strongly they feel about those opinions. I might be wrong about that. I might be wrong, but I think that, well, a lot of obviously progressive ideals and policies seeping into, you know, most Western countries and other countries as well, people are very much take that as an attack on themselves. For what reason? Who fucking knows? And again, I'm not out here saying that every progressive policy and ideology is perfect or all particularly a good thing. I think for the most part, like, progressiveness, it's like, it's ludicrous not to be a progressive. I seen, I don't want to get into much of a tangent, but I seen somebody on a TikTok, I think it was when they were talking about a white woman winning Miss Japan, and then he was talking to a mad old guy outside, and he's like, yeah, normally I really don't like progressiveness and this progressive ideology that's coming to the fore these days. And it just, something about it really bugged me, because it was like, I get what he's saying. I mean, I get also, like, I think if you pushed him a bit further, you would see what he actually thinks, and it's usually always steeped in like, fundamentally steeped in racism and bigotry and, you know, whatever the fuck else, all the bad phobias you can think of. But I get what the cunt's saying. He's talking about, like, this kind of hyper woke fucking, you know, this kind of reverse affirmative action kind of, like, modern society where we live in, where, you know, a lot of the left, certainly online, are very anti-free speech, and and so the right. I mean, I always find it funny that, like, the right used that as something to as a stick to kind of beat the left's head with. But free speech shouldn't really be a part of either, like, kind of side's argument. It should be, there's a windmill. Free speech should be very much something that is a core principle, no matter what side of the political divide you're on. But they both want it. I mean, the idea that the right are only pro-censorship is hilarious. No, they just want the right to offend and be racist pieces of shit. But they're also very, very, like, adamant of what they want and on our TVs, on our schools, on our public sphere. And they're very pro-censorship. So I always find it pure funny when the right are like, oh, fucking snowflakes, when it's like, there's definitely snowflakes on the left, but there's a ton of snowflakes on the fucking right as well. Arguably more. Honestly, arguably more. And arguably getting annoyed about things that are less worthy to get annoyed about. But again, I'm getting off topic. I'm not trying to get into, like, a mad debate with cunts. My main point in all of this is that cunts are absolute flag shaggers. And to put so much stock in a flag to the point where something gets changed on a football top unrelated to said flag, and you take it as an attack on your identity and your national pride, then there's a serious fucking issue there, and you need to get a grip. And the problem is like, we're talking about large waves, or whatever you say it, of the population, and the comments and the likes on those BBC articles where we're massively in support of, like, this idea that this is just pure woke nonsense, and how dare they attack the English flag and all that. And it's just like, and as I said, and then that flame is then being stoked and fanned by the literal leader of the country and his fucking opposition. Like, no, like, and I know why Keir Starmer's out there saying that, because he knows that his key to, like, even though his key to, like, getting Labour back to where it was is basically converting them into Diet Tories and being quite hard, still being quite hard on that whole kind of nationalist English identity, British identity, pulling away as much as possible from the kind of left-leaning Corbynite fucking Labour that everybody kind of associates Labour with ever since Corbyn was in power, even though it was a very brief period. But so I know why he's saying it, and I know why Rishi Sunak's saying it as well, because it's very much on par with the party message or like in the ideology of the people that will be voting for him. So I get why they're saying it, but again, I think it's completely embarrassing, and I think it just stokes this extremely toxic national identity where everything is an attack on them and their identity. And like I said, like, I don't have a problem with nationalism. Obviously, being Scottish, like English and British nationalism, and there's plenty of British nationalists in Scotland as well, but I'm certainly not one of them. So being Scottish and not being a British, like a unionist, like obviously I very much don't like English and British nationalism, but that's just like, you know, that's just a personal opinion. But like at its core, as long as you're not like, at the core it's the same as nationalism for anywhere. Obviously, sometimes depending on where you are and what country you're a nationalist in, may have a sway on what kind of side of the political spectrum you're on. But for the most part, as long as you're just proud of your country, you know, you're proud of your flag as well, that's fine. And you think it's a great place, and you're proud of your national identity, that is fucking fine, honestly. And even if I don't agree with the country that you're fucking that your national identity is like connected to, then but like, who gives a fuck? Do you know what I mean? We've all got different opinions, but when you're getting so fucking worked up over a football top getting slightly fucking changed, then that is a fucking serious problem. That is a serious problem, and you need to get out, touch some grass, and all. If that's failing, find yourself a train and chuck yourself in front. Yeah, actually, don't do that, because that's not really fair on the driver, who may not be a flag shagger. I mean, find yourself a secluded, like, take a boat out, find yourself a secluded bit of the water, take some dumbbells to you and jump on in. Do you know what I mean? Because you're a waste of fucking life, in all honesty. And and obviously, you know, I'm all about extremes, so that's not true. And again, I'm not like the moderate here that's going to bridge the gap. Oh, for fuck's, what's going on? I'm not the moderate that's going to bridge the gap between people who think that way and are pure flag shaggers and people who are not, or people who are too far the other way. I'm not a guy to fucking to bridge that gap, to mend those wounds, do you know what I mean? To get us to a place where we're not all so extreme. Because I'm pretty fucking extreme myself, even though I don't think my views are, but like, if a group of people really fucking annoy me, I'm quite extreme with my pattern in terms of what to do with them, do you know what I mean? And that's chuck them all in the fucking Clyde, man. But so obviously you need to take everything I'm saying with that kind of stuff with a pinch of salt. You know, I've got dark humour in that, and I'm going a bit slow here, aren't I? And all that stuff does really annoy me, so I'm just going to obviously get quite dark with it, do you know what I mean? But I do find it pitiful. I really fucking do, to get that upset about shit like that. And one of my main points that I take from all that, as I said, is like, these are the kind of cunts that would be on here, you know, like, oh, you know, fucking, again, I'm not saying where I stand on any of these points. So obviously usually all infer it, but like I'd say I'm fairly complex when it comes to especially like free speech things and cultural appropriation. Like I'm not pure. I've always been a liberal, but I really don't like this bastardized version of like the far left that you get online and in the modern day. I really don't. So like I'm definitely a liberal, always have been, but like I like to consider myself a moderate as much as possible in the sense that like somebody makes a logical, rational argument to me that, you know, I can't really disagree with, even if I ethically or morally I'm opposed to that. Do you know what I mean? I find it very difficult not to take it on board and accept it. And I like to think that, and I like to talk to people who are the same. Do you know what I mean? Who can take these points on board, and when you kind of hit them with kind of hard, what do I say, facts? It's not necessarily facts, but like an opinion grounded in reason and logic that's very hard to dispute. I like to be around people that can accept that. Do you know what I mean? And again, this is talking to people on both sides of the political divide. I'm a liberal, but cunts definitely fry me up with like their hyper PC-ness on the left and their reverse affirmative action. There is issues with all that. Sorry, I've went on such a tangent here. I remember what I was saying. I was going to say, first of all, it was about that guy saying that they hate the progressive kind of ideology, and that to me is, it really gets to me because I know what he's talking about. He's talking about all that kind of too far progressiveness where, you know, people almost believe there's reparations to be made towards oppressed groups and discriminated groups, and that, you know, that they should be afforded allowances that other people shouldn't because of the hard time that they've had and the hard time that's been perpetuated on them by, you know, I'm going to say us, but like people that haven't faced that level of discrimination. And I get that that's what, when cunts say, oh, they're pure anti-progressive and that's what they're against, and I get that. Do you know what I mean? Like there is an issue there. There is definitely an issue there with that kind of blanket ideology of, you know, we deserve this because, or they deserve this, whoever they may be, whatever group they may be, they deserve this because of historical injustices. You know, so again, I don't really get into that side of things. Like, I don't know, I don't have enough facts, and I don't know enough about these arguments to make kind of coherent points. Like, I can tell you where I stand ethically and morally and all these things, but I don't want to get in, I don't want to alienate cunts watching or anything like that. We're just talking about people being super embarrassing right now. But my main point with that, with the progressiveness, is that I think everybody should be in support of progressive ideology, as long as it's not that, because to me that's not progressive. Like people say, no, I'm anti-progressive ideology because they want to, you know, let's say a big one with the trans debate is whether trans athletes should be allowed, male trans athletes should be allowed in female sports, or female trans athletes, whatever it would be. And although I'm fully supportive of the trans movement, of the LGBT movement, and I think that the discrimination they face is way more than the kind of support and like reparations they may be receiving in return, whether from the government, local government, or fuck off, or the general public. It's not completely black and white, and one of my big ones is definitely, you know, the trans athletes in sport does raise ethical issues, you know what I mean? And it's nothing to do with discrimination, and people will use it as a point to validate their discrimination. So I hate being on the same side as people that are using this argument for those means. But the point still stands, there is a definite ethical quandary there where people that have effectively got a sporting advantage are allowed to compete in the same sport. And I think you can definitely say that without being transphobic, but a lot of people will accuse you of transphobia for that. And to me, people will consider that a progressive ideology or policy to allow that. Whereas to me, that's not progressive, because we're not progressing ethically or morally as a society by allowing that. Like, if anything, the opposite. Do you know what I mean? On top of that, they will have need to have taken drugs to get to where they are, to become the gender that they wanted to become, most likely. Again, I don't know I don't know the exact oh, look at that! I don't know the exact logistics of all of the transitioning and stuff like that, but they're effectively, in that instance, taking performance-enhancing drugs that other people probably aren't going to be able to take. So again, that's not progressive to me. And when guys are like, oh, you know, I'm anti-progressive, we're talking about stuff like that. But my retort to that would be, to me, that's not progressive. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's labelled as progressive, yes, but it's not actually, because it's not a like, we're not becoming progressively better as a people, as a group, as a civilization by doing that, and we're not, there becomes an unfair advantage and an unlevel playing field, which is completely against what progressiveness is meant to be about. Progressiveness is meant to be about even the playing field, not skewing it in the other direction. It's meant to be about evening it and providing support that may seem like it's becoming advantageous to be in a certain group, but that support is really just there to allow people to get to do the same things in life that other kind of oppressed groups are able to do without this support. So that first of all, obviously that was a massive tangent there, but my main point with that was, like I said, just it annoys me when I couldn't like that. It's like, oh, I'm really anti-progressive. It's like, nobody should be anti-progressive, seriously, right or left wing. Like, nobody should be anti-progressive, because progressiveness should just be, you know, becoming a better place to live for everybody in society, in my opinion, whether that's, you know, through ideology, through policy, whatever the fuck. So there's that. So there's that. So that was, first of all, I really hate that logic that cunt had about being anti-progressive. But back to the flag shagging thing. I was reading all these things in the BBC News from these former players, from you know, the Prime Minister, his closest rival, and then all the fucking flag shaggers that exist in the country as well. But like the thing that made me laugh is these are the cunts that are getting so pissed off at this are the kind of people that will get pure and will call you woke and a snowflake for, like, you know, not wanting them to use a racial slur or a homophobic slur, or just being pure anti, you know, anti just being a decent human being, effectively. And they'll be like, oh, fucking snowflakes, man, can't he see anything these days, man? Fucking woman's world, this, man. Fucking gays world, this, man. Fucking blacks world, this. Can't he see anything? I mean, you can see anything you want against a fucking, against a white cis male, do you know what I mean? But like, oh no, fuck's sake, a Christian, oh, I mean, you can say whatever you want against Christians, but you can't say anything you want against anybody else, man. Fucking disgrace. Calling you a snowflake and all that for that shit, but then a fucking sport, like a fuck off, a fucking a kit manufacturer makes a slight alteration to the crest of a flag on a on a football shirt, and they're fucking fuming. That's unacceptable. That's an attack on everything I stand for. And the only word that can come to mind in my mind there is fucking snowflakes, because I'm not really getting offended by you saying all the offensive shit you say. There is people that are, rightly or wrongly, there is people that are getting offended. So you can call them snowflakes if you want, right? But I'm certainly not getting offended by it. But you certainly are getting extremely offended by this slight alteration to a fucking shirt. So, like, it seems like I can quite easily call all you flag shaggers snowflakes because these are very, these are very sensitive, and these are very dainty wee things. Yeah, like, get a fucking life, get a fucking grip. Do you know what I mean? Oh, there we go, there we go. Oh, fuck. Get a fucking life, get a fucking grip. There was another example I wanted to use of that. Yeah, the perfect example when the Queen died, right? Which was for me a really fucking funny time because I don't give a fuck about the Queen. When I was young, I hated her and I hated the monarchy. I still don't like her or the monarchy or what they stand for, but you know, it's total indifference to me. I don't give a fuck. I'm certainly not going to fucking mourn her when she's dead. I don't think the world has lost a fucking particularly brilliant person or anything like that. But regardless, you know, like I've got indifference towards it. But so the Queen died, right? And then you had cunts like Piers Morgan, Jeremy Clarkson, some of the most crass, disgusting individuals that exist, say fucking horrible shit. Both of them, and again, I do not like Meghan Markle or Prince Harry. So don't think I'm out here pure defending them, right? But the two of them had basically been on like a racial tirade campaign for the past like 3 months leading up to the Queen's death, just slaughtering Meghan Markle, who again is probably a fucking major dafty. Don't really have an opinion on her, but at the same time she's like a young fucking woman, mixed race and all that. Clearly, you know, has experienced racism from within the royal family, and they're just pure terrorising her, right? Which is fine. Like again, I don't give a fuck about Meghan Markle. You do you, boo, right? And also for years, just saying all sorts of offensive shit. And vehemently defending their right to offend, you know. That's, you know, Jeremy Clarkson, a good example. That's just who I am. I say crass, horrible things, you know, and it's just deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Okay, fair enough, right? Fair enough. You do you. Then the Queen dies, and cunts are fucking online just having the time of their life, obviously, because fuck the Queen. Do you know what I mean? And guys like Jeremy Clarkson, I'm sure it was him. He made this post 2 days in because obviously he'd made a few posts about the Queen, and then obviously people had been on his post just slagging fuck out of her, him, and all the mad royal flag shaggers that were fucking devastated about this loss. And 2 days later, he made a post. I'm sure it was him. So, but like again, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not actually on Twitter, but I'm sure it was him. He made a post saying, "These last 2 days have really showed me just how low society has dwelled," or something along those lines, and just how horrible most of the population is. And it made me laugh so much, man. And the only word that was in my head that full time was fucking snowflake. It was shut the fuck up, you fucking snowflake. Like, seriously, your whole career out with Top Gear and that in recent years is just basically built on you just being as offensive as possible. And again, do you? I think you're come across as a knuckle dragger, but if that's, you know, if you're going to be like that, then you have to be completely like open to it coming back at you the other end, and when it comes to your ideology and shit like that. When somebody's saying something what you perceive to be pure offensive, if you're this mad fucking right, like fuck woke, right to offend, I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want and I don't care, then you need to be that fucking exact same. You need to give that exact same energy when it comes right back at you. But no, he's on within 2 days. Piers Morgan said similar shit, and there's plenty others. Pure greeting, like, oh my god, you are so nasty. How could you say that about such a beautiful old woman? Blah, 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 blah. She probably fucking in there shagging her fucking dead corpse. But anyway, all I could think of is like, you fucking snowflake. And not just that, you fucking charlatan. How embarrassing. Like, have a bit of integrity. Do you know what I mean? Like, your whole career is built on offending people. You've just been fucking actual racially abusing, like, fucking Meghan Markle for about 3 or 4 months on with a super strange obsession about her. Verging on fucking perversion. And then a monarch dies who obviously plenty of cunts do give a fuck about, but obviously plenty of cunts don't give a fuck about and are going to slag the people that do. And then you now decide that that's when you've got confirmation that most of the population are horrible. Get a fucking life, you fucking snowflake. Do you know what I mean? And it's that exact same energy with these flag shaggers with this England top. It's like, you know, if you put them up for, like I said, saying any number of horrific things which they say and believe and do and act upon, they'll be like, oh, shut up, get a life, snowflake, man. Back in my day, you could say whatever the fuck you want. I'm going to continue to say that. But oh, you say one thing that's against their ideology, you try to change a football top, you fucking don't give a fuck about a fucking wrinkly old bag that fucking bled the country dying. Oh, you best not do that, because these snowflakes are going to come at you hard. They're going to come at you fucking hard. But aye, I'm going to, let's get this done, this job done. That was there was a reason I had to wait till I'd started the last journey to start that tangent, because I knew it was going to get off on things. And again, I don't want to get too much into politics. I don't want people to be pure fucking thinking like I'm like this man's hyper woke, you know, PC cunt. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got no qualms in saying where I sit in the political divide. I've always been liberal, and I've always been left wing. Do you know what I mean? But it's not something I'm going to talk about on here, because I don't really have enough knowledge about any of it, like politics and policies. Like, I don't have strong arguments. I think I can always articulate where I come from morally and ethically and why I believe these things. But if somebody was to like, oh, give me facts behind your argument, like, I'm not going to be able to do it, because I don't have them, and I don't really care enough to go and find them. So, you know, it's not something I ever want to get into on this channel. But at the same time, I will delve into, you know, when I find it embarrassing, when it's a massive part of people's identity. And like I said, it can go either way. Both sides of the divide are super embarrassing. I pretty much despise the left wing online and their pure fucking hyper PC reverse affirmative action fucking radical, you know, extreme ideologies. You know what I mean? So I think there's points to be made that people are embarrassing on both sides of the divide, and I don't really ever want to get into that on here or in general. I don't even really like talking to people about it, because it's just not a fun topic to be honest. But like, I stand by everything I've just said there. Like, it is embarrassing if you're a flag shagger. If you're really worked up about this, it's super fucking embarrassing. And the main word that comes to mind is snowflakes. And it's so funny that that's been a term coined by the right to pretty much attack people with that they consider woke or fucking too liberal, too progressive. But they are all massive snowflakes. You know what I mean? Like the religious right in America, for example. Like, they're all massive snowflakes. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want to teach kids certain things in school? Like, that's unfucking acceptable. I mean, you can teach them about a fucking imaginary cunt in the sky that's pretty much the cause of most of the world's fucking woes. But you best not teach them about gay people, because that just crosses the fucking line. You best not show them an art with a penis, because they should only see that when they go to the fucking toilet. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I just find it really funny how that kind of juxtaposition of being pure, unapologetically offensive and anti-PC, but at the same time being so fucking easy to trigger and offend, and being so pro free speech and being able to say what you like, but at the same time being pro censorship, but not realising it. It boggles the mind. Anyway, let's drop this over. Let's stop all that chat. I will tell you this straight up, like, flag shagging is unacceptable. Do you know what I mean? There's no debate to be had here. I'm not going to have like people in the comments like, oh, well, actually, this is why I've got such a problem with them changing the flag on the England kit. It's like, my issue isn't with you having a problem with that, it's with you caring so fucking much about it. You know what I mean? Again, like, if they did change the Scotland flag, I probably wouldn't care. But see, they changed it to something pure egregious, maybe I would care, but like, the main point is that like, there's just so much bigger, more important things going on in the world to care about. Do you know what I mean? And at home and abroad, do you know what I mean? But like, I mean, I think one of the comments I seen on it was the YouTube post about it, or maybe it was on BBC News, and it was like, if people had the same energy that they do about, like, the same outrage, the same energy, the same like passion they do about a slight fucking change to the embroidering on their football top as they do like the homeless problem in this country, or like fucking all the injustices that are going on around them, then the world would be a much better place. And it's so fucking true. Like, get a grip. Like, there's things that you should be passionate about, and a fucking flag being changed on a football top is not one of them. Alright? You've been